everybody and welcome back to my channel. In this week's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make one of these fabulous, cute, quick and easy little jingle bells. Now you can hang these from your tree or use them as tags. These ones here, I've got a pair and then I've joined them with a little bit of a ribbon there. You can decorate them however you like. Now this one I've also used a ribbon as a tag. This one I have hooked up in Stylecraft Special Chunky. All of the colours will be in the description box down below. This one here, I've coordinated my jingle bell with my bow at the top. I've used 2 strands at once of Stylecraft Special DK. And then I've used a different colour as the little hanging tag there. Now this one I ran out of bells, so what I did is I added a little tassel using up all of those ends of yarn. I will show you how to do that at the end of this video. But in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make this lovely little one here. So for this example, I'm going to be showing you using this double knit weight yarn. This is Stylecraft Special DK in the colourway Gold. I'm also going to be using one of these fabulous jingle bells. Now I got this in a pack from Hobbycraft. I have a ribbon for decoration. I'm going to be using my 4mm Clover and More hook. I have a small pair of scissors for my ends. I also have a darning needle and I'm going to be using a stitch marker. So we're going to start with the magic circle. Now you can do this however you normally do, or you can follow along with me. So I start mine, my tail end is at the front, my working yarn is at the back, and then I wrap around these 2 fingers here. I then go across, I go under, grab that yarn, pull it through, then I just gently take my fingers out, and then making sure that you're working with your working yarn, not the tail, I'm just going to chain 1 to secure. Okay, now I'm just going to take my tail end out. This is a magic circle. You know it's a magic circle because when I pull on my tail end, it closes up. What we're going to do for round 1 is we're going to work in that magic circle. I'm also going to be working over my tail end as I go. Now in this magic circle we're going to put 8 UK doubles, so that's 8 US singles. So just as a recap, we're going to push our hook through, grab the yarn, pull through, so we have 1, 2 loops on our hook, grab the yarn, pull through 2, so that's 1. Then we're going to carry on and do another one, so that's 2, 3, working over that tail end, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pull on that tail end, which closes up that circle nicely. You can check back on yourself, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 stitches. I'm just going to go straight ahead and start working round 2 in that first stitch. So we are working in the round, we're not slip stitching, we're just going to work straight in to that first stitch. In that first stitch we're going to put 2 UK doubles, so that's 1 and then 2. Now at this stage I'm going to take my stitch marker. I'm going to mark the first stitch. So we've just done 2, so that's 2, 1. This is the first stitch of round 2. I'm just going to mark that. In the next stitch round, we're just going to put 1 double. In the next stitch round, we're going to put 2, 1 and 2. In the next stitch round, we're going to put 1 double. In the next stitch round, we're going to put 2. And we're going to work that all the way around. So it's 1 double. In the next stitch, 2 doubles, 1 and 2. And then the last stitch here, we're going to put 1. So again, you can just tighten that centre up nicely. You should have 12 stitches. So you can just go back on yourself and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the one with the stitch marker is 12. So that's it for increasing, going out. So what I'm going to do, take that stitch marker out. In this first stitch, I'm just going to put 1 UK double. So that's my first stitch of round 3. I'm going to mark that before I go. Okay, so all the way around, we're just going to put 1 double crochet in each, of those stitches. Okay, so you should have, at the end of round 3, 12 stitches. So just keep going round. So at the end of round 3, you're again going to have 12 stitches. Now you will also notice that your work wants to curve. Now this is going to be the right side, this is going to be the top of our bell. So what I tend to do now is flip it the other way round. So we've got a little bowl there. So what we're going to do for the next 3 rounds, so that's round 4, 5 and 6, it's going to be exactly the same. So you're going to put 1 stitch in each of those 12 stitches going all the way around, and we're going to do that a further 3 times. So just remember, start in that first stitch. So it's 1, then I always replace my stitch marker, and then I'll carry around with rounds 4, 5 and 6, and then I'll meet you back here. So I finished at my round 6. I still have my 12 stitches. Now what I've also done, my original tail end, I have just snipped that off. That won't be visible at all. I've just snipped it off so there's a little tail end up there. That's going to be within your bell. Now you can see this is what you should have, a little bit of a thimble theme going on here. Now we're going to make that lovely bell shape. So in our stitch 1, we're going to put 2 UK double crochets. So that's 1, 2. Then again, I am going to mark that first stitch of those 2. So 1, 2, that was my first stitch there. Okay, and in the next stitch, and in each stitch going all the way around, we're going to be putting 2 double crochet in each of those stitches. So carry around, that's round 7, putting 2 double crochet in each of those stitches. You should end up with 24 stitches. Finished round 7, and you can see this lovely bell shape appearing. Now what we're going to do is just the final round is going to be a round of slip stitches. So I'm going to again take out my stitch marker. In that first stitch I'm just going to do a slip stitch, so that's push your hook through, grab the yarn, pull it through, and the one that is on your hook. Again I'm going to mark that first stitch, and then just all the way around I'm going to slip stitch. I just think it leaves a nice finish. Okay, so it's just going into each of those stitches and slip stitching all the way around. You should still have at the end of this final round 24 stitches. So I've gone around and I finished that final round off with those slip stitches. I just think it finishes the bell off nicely. It gives a nice neat edge. Now when you come around, take that stitch marker out. One final slip stitch to join. Okay, then we're just going to chain one. We're going to cut our yarn. We're going to pull through and then just cinch that knot down nicely. And then I'm going to show you how I weave in my ends. So we're going to thread our darning needle. And then what I'm going to do, because I need to keep the yarn going in this direction so that it keeps its shape nicely, I'm going to find the stitch next to where I've just tied off my work. I'm going to use that as my guide. I'm going to take the needle down and then pull it reasonably tight so that you keep that nice round shape. Then what I'm going to do is weave my ends up within the bell itself. Okay, so I go up, then I'm going to come down on myself. You know what I'm normally like. I normally do the rule of 3. But again, you're not going to see this end. Is going to be up within the bell. So I'm just going to, I always find this fiddly on camera, so I'm just going to find a few strands there. You can do this neater when you're doing yours. Then I'm just going to cut as close as I dare. And there you have our cute little bell. Now what I tend to do with mine is I take these away now and give them a nice starch so that they keep their shape before I put the bell in, but obviously I won't do that now because there's not enough time for it to dry. So we have our little bell. Now what we need to do is add a hanger and our jingle bell. Now I'm using the same colour yarn for my hanger. Again, I'm going to thread my darning needle. Now at this stage you do need to check that your darning needle is going to go through this little loop at the top of your jingle bell. Now I know I have some smaller ones when I have to go down a needle size. You may not be able to use yarn. You might need to use embroidery thread for that one so that the needle will fit through and the thread will fit through the needle. So I'm just going to take my yarn. I'm going to go through my jingle bell, take my needle off for now. Okay, so we're going to now double this yarn up so it's the same length there, and then we want to just see where we want our bell hanging. Now some people, you may want the bell to be right up inside. I like mine to be hanging just at the bottom, so you're going to just see it's going to be about where my nail is there. So I'm going to tie 2 or 3 knots just where my nail is. Okay. So I'm using my needle to pull that through. So that's 1. I'm just going to double check that's fine. So I need to do about 3 knots. What I want is when we will thread this through the top, I don't want the knot to come through as well. So I'm just going to do another couple of knots there. So I've knotted my yarn. I have again threaded both of those tails through my darning needle. And then what you're simply going to do is going to go up from bottom to top of your bell, okay? And when your knot hits, it should stop, which is just about there. So as you can see, my bell is hanging nicely below. Then what I'm going to do, take my needle out. I'm just going to tie another knot in the top, depending on how long you want this hangy bit. Okay, you can tie that twice if you want, but 1 should be enough. And then you're just going to snip off your ends. And there you have a fabulous jingle bell. Now, if you want to have more of a tassel effect in your bell, you haven't got any jingle bells, then you can use up all of your stray ends. What I've done is just lay some ends along. Then I have taken some of this red yarn here. You can use whatever colour you have. I've just tied around the middle. Then as you can see, it just makes a nice little tassel here. Then again, I'm going to even those 2 ends up. I'm going to estimate where we want this. So I want this to go right up into the top of the bell. Okay, so I'm just going to put another knot just there, just at the top. So hopefully this won't come through. I'm going to thread my darning needle. Making sure I have both of those tails. And again, we're going to go from bottom to top, coming up there. Take out my needle, so obviously my tassel won't go any further. I'm going to again judge where I want my hangy knot to be at the top here. Trim off those ends. And then what we're going to do is trim our yarn here. So you may want to have some below the bell. I'm going to have it just showing. Okay, so you're just going to trim. And you're just going to play with your ends a little bit. You'll have more time to do this. And then you've got a little bit of a tassel there as well. There you go, I've trimmed it off a little bit better for you, and I have added a little bit of a bow on each of those, and I think they look just fantastic. So why not go ahead, have a go yourselves. Let me know how you get on. Please do remember to give me a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and I will see you here next time. Bye-bye.